There's a famous text in the Mishnah, which is part of what's called the Jewish oral law, called Pirkei Avot. And unlike all the other books in the Mishnah, which just consist of legal teachings, this is the ethical aphorisms, the favorite quotes of the rabbi. And actually, my own favorite there occurs at the beginning of chapter 4, where Rabbi Ben Zoma asks a series of questions. The first question is, Ezu Chacham, who is wise? And the answer is, Halo Meid Mikol Adam, one who learns from everybody. Our natural inclination is to think wise is the one who teaches everybody. Wise is the person with a very high IQ. But the truth is, if somebody's always going around teaching, that person isn't acquiring new knowledge and is going to end up recycling old material. This way, wisdom is accessible to everyone. If you're willing to learn from other people, from every encounter, you will become a wise person. In a way that a person who has a big education but isn't open to learning in that way, their wisdom will decrease. Then they ask another question, Ezehu Gibar, who is a hero? And the answer isn't one with great physical courage, though that's one possible way of explaining it. But the truth of the matter is, some of us do not innately have physical courage or great physical courage, and even if we do, we're called upon to exercise it very rarely. I remember my daughter Naomi told me when she was 2 years old, she thought I was the bravest man in the world, a belief that was shattered when she was 4 and we went to an amusement park and I wouldn't go on the roller coaster. But the truth is, the rabbis answer who is a hero in a way that makes heroism accessible to every one of us. They say, who is a hero? Koveshet Yitzro, one who overcomes his bad inclinations. We all have different bad inclinations. We all have different weaknesses. But a hero is one who confronts those weaknesses and works on himself. And that's something we're called upon to do every day of our lives. For example, do you have a bad temper? Do you wish you had better control over your temper? Do you work on it? Because it's not a victimless crime. People who don't control their temper cause a lot of harm to others. And the third question that he asks there is the one that's the hardest teaching in Judaism perhaps of all to absorb. Ezu Ashir, who is rich? And they answer, Hasameach Bechelko, one who is happy with what he has. They don't say one who is satisfied with what he has, because you don't have to be satisfied with what you have. Judaism is not a religion that has an ascetic inclination. In every society in which Jews have lived, we have never once been confused with the Amish. So there is an openness to materialism within Judaism, to trying to achieve material success. But that's not the goal. The goal is to be happy with what you have. And the reason is, if we're not, we're never going to be happy. Because what human beings want are everything. Studies that have been done of what people earn show that no matter what they're earning, maybe the mega wealthy, but people have a tendency to think if they were earning 25% more, then they would be happy. Or they have a tendency to think, if I'd be happy if my child was doing better in this regard. I'd be happy if this happened in my marriage. Our wants are very, very great, and we're never really fully satisfied. But we have to learn to be happy with what we have, because if we're not, we're going to go around in a feeling of tremendous discontent all of the time. And that's really very, very sad. I'll tell you a sad experience I have as a rabbi. I'll meet with a family, people, somebody has suffered an irrevocable loss. God forbid there's been a death or an illness from which there's not going to be a full recovery. And the person will say to me, Rabbi, if things could only go back to being the way they used to be, I'd be so happy. But I knew that person when things were the way they used to be, and he wasn't happy. The great tragedy is people who can discover happiness only when they no longer have it. Life is structured in such a way we're all going to go through difficult periods, and we're all going to suffer losses, some of which are irrevocable. It's imperative that we be able to have happiness with what we have when it's not a time of loss, when it's the norm. Our normal frame of mind, our normal mood should be we're happy unless something bad is happening. Many people are the opposite. They're only happy if something very good is happening. So their happiness is dependent on the extraordinary. But life isn't lived in the extraordinary, it's lived in the ordinary. We have to learn how to be happy during the ordinary times of life.